Hi, everybody.
For what?
We gotta do. Oh, God, I gotta change the image. I gotta change it.
Gotta cut the recording.
Oh, God damn it. I messed up. Okay, yay, Evil or Live. We're talking about it.
I'm so bad. You're so bad.
So we recorded something before this that's probably gonna come
This is
before
what you
this,
get
and
when
I
you
don't know what's
try.
going on.
This is what you get when you try moving things along.
Yeah, fucking nailed it, bruh.
God.
Oh, this is sweet. Alright. So, we were watching Evil or Live. Brand new, and, well, I shouldn't say brand new. It came out this last season. I waited for it all to get released in order to give it to Greg. And Greg, we gotta get a thumbs up or a thumbs down. What do you got for us?
I'll lean more towards it was like I'd give it a watch.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a meh for me. Like, I think
Like-
it started off really, really strong, and then its ending was kind of just.
Okay, yes. The ending there was a lot to be desired with it. Like they ended it so weirdly.
It was like they thought that they were gonna have more seasons, and like they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you're not getting your contract renewed, and they're like, fuck, we need to end this like now.
Here's the thing. I don't think the series needs another season. Because they ended it where it doesn't need another season. It's just, I wish they would have added on an extra, like, 5 or 10 minutes to the ending.
Or something.
Throw an OVA that's, like, an epilogue.
Yeah, or...
That's all I wanted. That's all I want of it, is just one more episode that's, like, a cleanup.
Yeah, let's just whitewash this entire thing, like, make it look all pretty, because... Man.
Because they set a lot of things up to be resolved, and then they don't resolve them.
It was rough. Like as a show, like the concept itself was super rough. Right?
Like, what do you mean by rough?
I mean, like, we've got sex deals going down. We've got freaking like
that.
Like, we've got, like,
situation.
rapey, like, we've got, like, there's a lot going on in this show that is all just completely fucked.
Yeah, it's very wrong.
Actually...
But don't worry, their internet addiction is the worst of it all.
Oh, yeah, the internet addiction's the problem. Oh, goodness.
Before we get any further, the whole concept of this show is, like... Basically, in like the modern day and age, a new like disease is breaking out amongst people known as, and like experts. They make sure to say like experts.
Yeah, experts call it
internet addiction.
Which is funny because you can't be addicted to the internet. You can have a strong disposition towards internet activity, but you can't be addicted to it.
So basically, there's a school that was set up for like the younger generation that like parents are sending their kids to help break them of their internet addiction.
Yeah,
and
all behind closed doors, by the way. Just need to point that out.
Yes, and this school is very, very warped and twisted. Like the instructors literally beat the students. There's a lot of like it's essentially like
it's a boot
in the
camp.
School, all the classes are gangs against each other.
It's a violent boot camp.
Pretty much.
Like, we're not talking, like, boot camp nowadays. We're talking about, like, boot camp olden days, like, in North Korea. Like, where they fucking starve you, give you 5 bullets, and, like, if you miss one, we're shooting you in the knee.
And like, the best part is the headmistress is some S&M dominatrix queen.
That was the weirdest fucking tangent I've ever seen an anime go on.
Tangent.
Well, because it didn't lead to anything and there was no point behind it. Like...
They did it because sex sells.
I mean, I guess, but like... Fucking what, mate? Like... I think that was part of my problem with it, is that there were a lot of things that it tried to set up that it just didn't have time to finish. Like, if it knew it was only going to be one, like, that's why I think it was planned to be more seasons. But like, if it was only planned to be one season, you'd think they'd focus solely on this main character and his like trip throughout, instead of like, oh, by the way, we're now showing that this guy has a backstory with the leader of this, or the headmistress, and is getting spanking parties done by her. Like, that doesn't seem to be like a huge plot point towards where the main story lies.
Yeah, there were quite a bit of backstories that really were kind of weird.
And then, I mean, it's not just they were weird, but they were unnecessary.
Yeah, there was a lot, like, and one thing that was kind of awkward was there was a lot of, like, rapiness to this.
Oh, so much rapiness.
It was bad, like, very bad. Like, basically, it was like, they weren't afraid to show that, and then also, like, basically trading sex for favors.
That was... I
But
think it was something that was, like, really like, it was interesting the way they did it. You know what I mean?
I think it was interesting, and I kind of liked it where they took those kinds of situations and then kind of flipped it into some comedic stuff.
They did do some of that, but I'm saying, like, when it took itself seriously, like, it took itself seriously. You know?
Oh yeah, like it was super serious, but like I really liked how they didn't just make it like a super dark anime. Like they did have quite a few comedic things in it that were just like they were just splashed in to kind of lighten the mood a little bit.
God, did this show need lightening of mood sometimes, though?
Like one character especially was Akane,
Yeah.
the one like
The little girl?
young. Well, she wasn't little. She was older than
Well,
the
you
main.
know what
I
I'm
think she was
talking about,
actually
like-
older than the main character.
Yeah, but she was the smaller one.
Yeah, and she was
God,
just
that
like,
was- I don't
she was
quite
funny.
understand that one. Like, I think there was some miscommunication there. They're like, we need something to be like, but like her latching onto everybody just didn't make sense. Especially if you're in like a boot camp style prison, essentially. Like,
It was just kind of funny.
I mean, it was goofy, but I just didn't quite get it.
Like I liked that goofiness that they added into it.
No, I could see it. I see. The thing is I didn't understand it. I didn't think it took away from what it was. So,
That or
like,
just
there were some things that made me go, "Frickin' what?" But for the most part, I don't think those like weird quirks of characters really took away from anything.
no.
Right? So like if they did come like when the main when they went through the backstory of the of that drill instructor, like, fucking why? But I don't think it took away from things, but it was a waste of time.
Yeah, it was like over half an episode that really didn't need to be.
Yeah. In that time, I think it could have been better. It could have been better spent like developing why what's his name? The not the main character, the because the main character is considered the one guy's dog. Can't remember.
Shin.
Shin. Yeah, Shin.
Shin's the purple-haired guy.
Yeah, Shin. So, like, explaining what Shin's angle was, or, you know, anything along those lines, that would probably be much more poignant than talking about the drill instructor who is literally just not going to be that impactful.
Yeah, like they did kind of give a little bit into Shin's backstory in like the second to last episode,
But
or
no,
like 3 episodes before the finale.
in my opinion, just nowhere near enough.
No.
Not enough for it to be, like, a satisfying ending.
Yeah, like
So-
like I said, there were some good there were some good like parts of this, but I think in the long run it just like it pieced pretty well together, which I would that's why I'm saying I would say give it a watch. But in the end, there were quite a few things that just kind of were lacking.
Yeah, there was a lot of jumping at the end.
Yeah, which is why I wouldn't piece this as to like a super amazing series. It was
Yeah.
good, but it wasn't like fantastic.
I don't know. I was kind of looking for kind of like, um, I
Not
checked
not
this
to
one out. Every once in a while, I'll be like, "Hey, look, I want to figure out what series." So like, kind of keep some more recent shows that have popped up. So this was kind of the one that I found and stuck with, and just not that impressive. That
no,
being said, it kind of fit kind of where we were because we were both going with some really really good shows. So I thought that giving kind of a meh.
yeah. There was oh my God. Like am I the only one who know like I gotta ask you this. Did you feel that some of the sound effects that they use for certain things felt off?
Oh yes.
Thank you. Okay, I thought I was just crazy.
It
Like
does. It drives me nuts.
whenever anybody got hit or anything, like it just felt wrong, like the sounds.
Yeah, the sounds were not very well done.
Or there was no sound where there should have been.
Yeah. I don't know. See, like the drop in sound, I don't mind as much, but when the sound just is not what happens, that's what kind of bugs me.
Like I think the biggest one that bothered me was the slap sounds.
Yep.
There was no slap. It was like it was a smack, as if somebody got like backhanded instead of actually like slapped.
Like it was like the initial impact, and then like straight up out of Halloween, just like there were a couple times when that happened, and I had to laugh. Like I fucking like I'm not gonna lie, that shit was funny.
Like I even stopped like I stopped the video. I'm like, that's not what a sound. That's not what a clap sounds like. And like I actually clapped my hands together. I'm like that's more accurate.
Yeah,
And then I continued watching.
yeah. So I don't know. I think story wise, like the beginning was definitely where it should have been. The ending is where it died. So I mean, I'd give it a watch just because in if you're interested in like more adult themed like ideas, right? Because like the
Just
concept was good, it just couldn't follow through on it. And I think that if someone else ran with that concept, like there could be a really really good story in there.
yeah. Honestly, the series almost like minus the whole idea behind like powers and stuff, like the whole concept of it reminded me a lot of Dead Man Wonderland.
Yeah, yeah, that was another thing. Like it kind of seems that way, but then when it goes off the short end, I feel a little bad about it. But I'm I still love the idea behind it, which I mean there has to be something there that you can go with. But
Yeah, just be just be careful if you have an issue with like them kind of tackling like rape and stuff like that.
oh, they tackle a lot of like questionable.
Questionable like sexual stuff.
I mean,
Which
it's pretty rapey, pretty.
yeah, like
There's a
obviously
lot
they
of
don't
violence.
yes. There's only one like real instance that they actually kind of like show something dealing with like rape, but it's
It's a lot of
just
implied.
yes, just be careful of that if you have an issue.
It's a,
If you're sensitive to that, just I would not watch this series.
it's dirty.
And not in like an etchy way.
No, definitely not. All right. So now that we've gone through that, and I think we hit pretty much all the points actually.
Yeah. Like there's really not too much else to talk about with this series.
Yeah. So I think we'll call it there. It is your turn. You gotta give what you gonna give
Uh,
language and things. English, yes.
Did I already give you? Did I already technically give you? No, I haven't technically yet. The one we've already recorded.
Yes, that one.
I haven't actually like technically given it to you yet, have I?
No.
Oh yes, I'm going to give you. Haven't you heard? I'm Sakamoto.
Yes.
That's going to be our next week's.
Yes.
Which, from what I just said, we have already recorded it.
Because you didn't have goddamn internets.
Yeah, the interwebs was wrong.
Oh man. So that's gonna be a thing that we do.
Yeah, so yeah, next week is haven't you heard? I'm Sakamoto.
Any last second like?
Thanks for watching, guys.
Yes, thanks for watching. If you like that content, we got other content all over our channel, which you should totally click on and maybe like hit the fuck you button because I don't know. Greg has a fun hat.
Leave comments with suggestions.
Ooh, we're gonna go back to viewer suggestions.
We haven't in a while.
We haven't, but it's been a while since we've gotten any, so.
That is true. But yeah, so like give us stuff. Like we're actually interested in doing stuff. We've actually picked a we have watched like viewer suggestions before.
God, we've watched some terrible and some great shows. Like
yeah. Terrible Steins Gate. What?
Oh.
Okay, it wasn't that bad.
Dude,
it was just that was our
once it picked up, it wasn't that bad.
That
God, those first fucking.
Yes, that was our first like viewer suggested one, so that's why I mentioned it. Like we do take your guys' suggestions.
But kindergarten.
That wasn't the viewer suggestion.
No, that's how this shit started, though.
No, our first.
That wasn't our first episode, but that was like one of the first times we actually started like. It's kind of how we came up with the channel.
That was the first series that we sat down and watched. Like you and me both watched at the same time.
Technically, I watched it before that.
Yeah, but you rewatched it and I watched it the first time. God, the diabetes.
The diabetes.
God, I didn't know a show could give you diabetes.
Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time. Bye!
See you guys.
Bye. Done?
What are you, a Backstreet Boy?
Bye. No? Alright. Fuck you,
All right.
man.